When you think about going to a networking event, do you think, oh, great, this will be fun? Or do you think, oh my goodness, I'd rather go to the dentist? If it's the latter, you may be an introvert, and networking events are going to be a little bit harder for you. And this podcast today is all about making it easier. I use the example of work networking events, but this can apply to any event you have to attend. Welcome to the Miles to Zen podcast, the show where we thrive on creativity, curiosity, and yes, you guessed it, connection. Today, we will dive into a skill that truly makes a difference in life and business. And I am talking about something that can transform the way you interact with the world, the art of connection. If I had one superpower to the outside world, I suspect this would be it. But the good news is this is a superpower that anyone can develop. My mom tells me that one day in grade one, I came home from school and announced that I wasn't going to be shy anymore because shy people don't have as much fun. My mom says it took her until she was 30 to figure out what her 5-year-old had already figured out. And if that wasn't evidence enough, just last night we were flying home from my son's nationals volleyball tournament in Edmonton. And I told him our seats, and it was an aisle and a middle seat. And he said, oh, I'll take the aisle. And I said, it's Mother's Day. I should be able to pick which one. And he replies, but Mom, if you sit in the middle, you get to talk to someone. And I said, oh, really? And he's like, yes, Mom, that's what you do. So there you have it from the mouth of babes or teenagers, I should say. I'm officially qualified to share about this topic around the art of connecting. And kind of interesting that I was finalizing this talk yesterday on Mother's Day. And this was truly a gift that my mom helped me to develop. You might be saying, well, Shannon, you're an extrovert, and of course this is easy for you. And yes, it is easier for extroverts. It is. But it isn't always because of a variety of the traps we may fall into that I will get into. And as I've gotten older, I've moved more towards the middle of the extroversion, introversion continuum. And I would call myself now an ambivert. So that means that I like the social stuff, but I absolutely recharge on my own with a book or my journal or in nature or with my cats. So let's get started. Now, in networking events, you have to have the right mindset going in and get yourself a little bit prepared. What is your why? Why are you going? I suspect you're looking to connect with a fellow human for a variety of reasons. Now, let's say worst case scenario is you're being forced to go. But I want to remind you that you always have a choice. You might be thinking your choice might be if I don't go to this conference, this event, I'm going to lose my job. Recognize that you still have a choice. You may not feel like you have a choice, but you're choosing to stay in your job. If this is a choice that you feel, I need the money, of course I need to stay in my job, that's still a choice, right? You can be working to discover another job in your future. So you're choosing to stay while you're looking for another job, but I digress. You could be being sent to the networking event because someone thought your skill set or your knowledge would represent the company really well. You're going to learn new things that will help your situation. So, one thing that will really help you and help your mindset is to realize that, yes, I am choosing to go to this event. I am going to learn something new. I'm going to practice my networking skills. I'm going to drum up some new business. And with that shift in perspective, it makes it easier, it makes it more manageable, and Hopefully, you can dig up some interest and some curiosity and enthusiasm. And that, for me, is the backbone around the art of connecting. If you can dig up some enthusiasm, that is the doorway to some interest and, at the very least, some curiosity. I also will admit that I have an advantage in that I generally like most humans as a starting point. And most humans are actually pretty likable. Some are easier to like than others. And another thing my mom used to say is the harder they are to love is when they need the love the most. But let's launch into some helpful tips and tricks and, of course, hit the faux pas. So remember, you're going to an event to connect with other humans, and humans, above all else, desire connection and authenticity, especially in these times now where we're out of practice, coming out of COVID and being so in a digital age. We are not as good as interacting with people as we were in the past, or not as comfortable, let's say. So if you can't wrap your head around any other reason, wrap your head around the fact that most people have an innate desire to connect with people on a human level. So let's get you prepared before you head off to an event. Preparation, even if it's in an Uber for a few minutes prior to the event, will help you out. Practice your introduction spiel, who you are, why you are there, and have a few small talk starters, which we'll get into. Prior to deciding if you're going to go to the event or if you're being voluntold to go to the event, do some research if possible and find out who will be attending. Identify some people that you'd like to meet. This can give you purpose at the event. And if you're like, Shannon, my Uber ride is way too short to do this, and now you're overthinking it, just stop. Take a few deep breaths and give yourself a break. Take everything one moment at a time. And in this moment, in this present moment, everything is fine. Then the next moment, and then the next. Now, I'm going to simplify this down to the basics. So, pros, you can fast forward this part and go to the tips further along, or just stick with me from the beginning. You've arrived by yourself at the entrance. Now what? Panic is setting in. Just breathe. Step one, go inside the event, and your back might be towards a wall or just somewhere comfortable where you can just survey the room for a few seconds. Congratulate yourself for being at the event where you don't know anyone and you have seriously gotten out of your comfort zone. Well done. And what we've discussed before on this podcast, all the good things happen outside your comfort zone. If you see a bar, go grab a drink. My favorite thing at a conference is anything mixed with club soda, alcohol or not. Now you have something to do with your hands, and you may have actually met someone in the bar lineup. Now, you go back to scanning the room. You could do this in motion by walking around the room, or just go back to observing. You've got something to do with your hands because now you've got your drink. And don't let yourself be in that mode for too long. 10 minutes tops, because there's a risk that you're going to get in your head and you're going to talk yourself out of the room if you're really nervous about these kind of events. If this is a work event, there's a big chance that there are other people just like you who don't know anyone. And the ones that do know people, at one point, they didn't know anyone either. If this is a classic networking, drinks, food kind of thing, you can survey the room, quickly figure out who are the people that you're most drawn towards. I tend to jump in. And so that's one of the things that is good and bad. And I jump in a little bit less now and observe the room a little bit more. And that generally makes all the difference because I can see the people that then I'm drawn towards. And is there anyone that you know? that one's a no-brainer. Somebody that you've seen before. You can easily go start a conversation with that person. And you don't need to be besties. You just need to know, have you seen them before? And hopefully it's them. And you can say, oh, hey, I saw you at this event last week, or I think you work in my company, or something like that. So as you observe the room, you'll also see some people that may just have what's called a resting bitch face. Stay away from that person. They might just be like that just for the moment, and it may change, but they are not the low hanging fruit of networking. And if you hit a tough one right away, you potentially will run away and avoid doing this. So look for someone who's kind of doing the same thing that you are, who's casually observing the room. Those people may also be terrified to talk to people like you are, but most likely they're not going to be full on in their ego, and they're taking it all in and they're hanging back. And they may have something to share with you about their observations and what they're doing there and what brought them there. So identify who you're going to talk to. Now for the approach. Hopefully by now you've observed the observers, or you may have overheard a conversation that seems approachable to just hang on the sidelines of. You may have been to the food. Food is a great place to make small talk, and you're ready to launch in. Now for the small talk. What are you going to do once you get there? You need an icebreaker. And some people are almost offended by small talk. And it kind of surprises me because why wouldn't you want a way to feel comfortable with somebody that's you don't know at an event? I really think of small talk as a gift that helps ease other people and yourself into feeling comfortable. And why wouldn't you want to do that? And I'm pretty at ease with talking to people and talking to strangers. And having that small talk is a quick way to find common ground, a quick way to connect with someone and just bring them out of their shell a little bit, or just help you come out of your shell. These small talk basic questions are like, how did you hear about the event? Asking open-ended questions. What industry are you in? If it's an industry event for your industry, what part of the industry are you in? People love to talk about themselves, and make sure you listen. Active listening makes people feel valued, and they will then have a natural affinity towards you because you truly listened. So, just on the weekend at the tournament, I was talking to one of the staff, and he told me he was going to school. And I piped up, oh, I know the executive director of that school. And right away, there's an instant connection that you can build on. There's so much more common ground with everyone than we think. And in a world that feels very polarized at times, we often forget that we have so much more in common than we have in our differences. And polarization is actually embedded in our systems, it's embedded in our governments. And for the majority of us, we actually have quite a lot in common. So, a line that you can also use is, what brings you here to this event? Did you try the XYZ at the food table? Or, I know this is terribly awkward, but I'm not good at networking, or I'm an introvert and I don't really know how to do these things. Self deprecation can often be a funny intro. And you just need to start with that one connection, and then things become easier. You've made that one connection, you have a friendly face in the room. Well done. Now, let's talk about the things that you need to avoid. So, food and alcohol. Don't avoid food and alcohol. Just be careful about what you choose. There are foods that I like to think of that are first date foods or not first date foods. Foods that are not first date foods are like those huge sushi rolls that fall apart or you can't put the whole thing in your mouth. Those are not first date foods. Spaghetti Absolutely not a first date food. Now, think of that when you're getting stuff from the food table. Do not get something that's going to spill all down your shirt, and do not get something that is way too big to put in your mouth and there's no way to cut it. The other thing at the bar, don't drink too much. I know you might be nervous and you think some liquid courage is going to help you along, and it may just do that, but be careful. Keep it professional. We can all remember when someone drank too much and then did or said something stupid, and you either have that view of that person from then on, or they've just killed their career. Remember that you're looking to make a connection with someone. This is not a numbers game. No matter what you may think, especially if you're just starting your career or looking to make as many connections as possible, if you haven't had a meaningful connection with someone, or you haven't been introduced to connect with this person at a future date, don't bother sharing your contact details or getting their QR code on LinkedIn until you have made a meaningful connection. And the QR code on LinkedIn is brilliant. If you're not on LinkedIn and you're going to a networking event, get on LinkedIn before you go. Find out where that QR code is so then you can share that, or you can share a business card. Remember, you're connecting, you're building relationships, you're not forcing immediate results. Resist the urge to check your phone. We use phones like a crutch. We use them because we're nervous, our attention span has vanished, we feel that something more important could be going on our phone. Most likely it's not. You know, if you're getting a phone call, sure, check who it is. When you pull out your phone when you're talking to someone, it just feels rude, and it feels like you're saying that I'm not interested in you. Unless you're about to give them your LinkedIn contact or send them a message so you instantly have their contact details. Keep your phone away. Keep it positive. People want to be around people who lift them up. And you do that by keeping it positive. Talk about the things that you enjoyed at the event. Talk about the positive industry development. Avoid at all costs politics and religion. If that conversation goes that way, bring it back to neutral territory, or just find a way to excuse yourself from the conversation. This topic can be super tough with good friends, never mind a complete stranger. Avoid personal finance and overly personal questions like someone's relationship status or how much they make. So, you know, when you're talking to somebody and they start looking away, really showing signs that they're just not interested, well, just let them go. Find a way to just gracefully exit from the conversation, and we'll go through the graceful exits later on. Those those people are just not for you, and just move on. So you can identify verbal signs of nervousness and pay attention to when you're doing them yourself. One of the ones we can do when we get nervous is we talk too much or too fast. I'm guilty of this on occasion, and we overcompensate for nerves by filling in the silence or speaking too fast or going on about something. Another one is people, when they're nervous, can over explain or repeat themselves because they feel they need to clarify their points. Or if they're with somebody who's not really listening, they feel that instead of getting out, they need to say their points again. And in that case, just get out. Get out. Gracefully excuse yourself. Using too many filler words like like all the things that I actually edit out of podcasts that I do and that people I interview do. Um, just like that. Like check your inner valley girl at the door. Another one is nervously laughing at what people say. And it may be a way to ease the tension, but sometimes it could just be out of place. That and the hair toss. So think Jumanji, the movie with The Rock and the dance fight scene. Enough said. If you haven't seen it, just go watch that movie. It's hilarious. And pay attention in the dance fight scene, the laughing and the hair toss. You can spot that one a mile away. I'm sure in my early 20s, I was guilty of it. Oh, for sure, I was guilty of it. Who am I kidding? And now on to more physical signs. Any engineers out there, you are often guilty of avoiding eye contact. Then that makes me guilty of overcompensating with too much eye contact. The other thing I do as well is I bite my lip. If someone makes me really nervous, I yawn. If you ever see me interviewing Oprah, watch for the yawns. The fidgeting is another sign of nervousness, playing with jewelry, adjusting clothes, tapping your fingers, chewing on your nails, a classic nervous habit that can be subconscious. And please work on this. Nails, don't chew on your nails. Ginormous faux pas. Do whatever you need to do. Put nail polish stuff on there that makes them taste bad. My mom was a nurse and always said to me, if I chewed my nails, I'd get worms because the worms lay their eggs under our fingernails. So now I look at people chewing their nails and I think they all have worms. Really not a good association and probably not 100% accurate, but a little bit accurate. So there you go. Don't chew your nails. Do whatever you can do to stop chewing your nails. Also, just think of your posture. Are your shoulders down and relaxed? Often, when you're nervous, your shoulders can be up around your ears. You have a shrinking posture. You're crossing your arms. So you're creating a physical barrier. Just be aware of how relaxed you are. You may be nervous, but remember to take in those breaths and relax your body. Let your shoulders fall. Don't lock your knees. Loosen up a little. Remember to breathe. Sometimes to remind yourself of something, you can write something on your hand, put a piece of jewelry somewhere where you wouldn't normally have it, and then that reminds me to do XYZ behavior. This can be a way to remind yourself just to relax. There's also behavioral signs that people do when they're interacting. Close talkers, listen up. Do not stand too close. We all have culturally, researchers sort the world into contact cultures and non contact cultures. And contact cultures are typically South American, Southern European, Middle Eastern. Non contact cultures, typically Northern Europe, North American, Asian. There are always exceptions, of course. Like in my experience, I found that some Eastern Europeans are close talkers. Misjudging personal space can happen when someone's nervous, but read the cues. If someone's backing up, don't go forward. Let them have that space. It's like an elastic band. If someone backs up and you go forward, they keep backing up. You don't want to walk them around the room that way. Remind yourself, now that we've wrapped up all those lessons, remind yourself that everyone feels nervous sometimes. Even the most confident of extroverted networkers have these moments of anxiety, and you are not alone. Remember to tell yourself that you're not there to impress anyone. You are there to learn and to connect. And this takes the pressure off. Visualize these positive interactions so you can rewire your brain to expect them. Now, you're having the conversation and it's going along and you're looking for some graceful exits. Either you want to move on and network with a few more people, that's okay. Or the conversation isn't for you and you need to get out. Give yourself permission. You're at a networking event after all. You can say, It's been nice talking to you. I'd like to mingle a little bit more, go get a drink, go to the bathroom, get some food, any of those things all work and they're all okay. You don't have to be married to the first person that you are talking to. And, going to the bathroom and just having a break, even if you don't need to go to the bathroom, just having that moment by yourself to just recenter yourself, have a breather, remind yourself of how well you're doing, remind yourself of why you're there is great. Sometimes you just need a break. Then reflect on what's gone well. And instead of focusing on what you think went wrong, celebrate the fact that you put yourself out there and you did it and keep practicing. The more you engage in conversations, the more natural and comfortable it will feel. COVID did a number on our ability to connect. We're still so out of practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes and it can actually be fun. You can treat it like an adventure and approach conversations with curiosity, looking for those shared interests. Don't be afraid to bring your authentic self to the conversation. It is such a blessing to talk to people who are authentically them. It's so much easier to connect with people who are showing up as themselves. And yourself is always good enough. It's always the best person to bring into the room. Know that when we're enjoying ourselves and we're being ourselves, that's when the best connections to happen. So, congratulations. You've done it. You've done the networking event, or you're about to go into the networking event. Remember to find those friendly faces. You may not be perfect this time around, but you're getting the practice and you're doing it. And perfection is the last thing that matters in this department. Remember to follow your curiosity, show up as your authentic self, and just enjoy connecting with other humans. It truly is possible. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Miles to Zen podcast. I hope you are walking away with some tips and tricks on how to network. And if you found this content to be helpful, please let me know. Put it in the comments or send me a message. And please subscribe, like, follow, send it to a friend. It helps more people access this content. I just enjoy so much hearing what some of you are getting from the podcast. I've had just some beautiful messages and I'm so grateful for those. So with that, have a fabulous week and I will talk to you next week.